Okay, on this Pakeshi News video, in this game we're looking at playing a land train. Okay, so the storyline is this. Okay, let me pan over to the back of the land train. So what we have here in some sort of knoll cage is a demon prince that's being transported to some secret Inquisition base. Now, this is the kind of defenders forces, and this is the kind of extent of the land train. Okay, so it's just a kind of small segment of it with a sort of knoll cargo hold, entrance here on either side, and then the kind of forward part. Okay, so this is the Imperial Defenders, and the way we're working it is we're using the custom rules here for the Black Guard. Effectively, they're scions with an increased weapon skill, slightly different weapons. You can get storm shields, shotguns, and so on, and they're all gnolls. Okay, so the way these rules are working for us is you can't cast any psychic powers within 12 inches of a gnoll, and if you target these with a psychic power, then you peril on a double. Okay, bolstering up the defenders, we've got Pakeshi Rangers here. So we've got a platoon of Imperial Guard, a platoon of support weapons, just 2 units in this case, so it's 2 platoon commanders, and we've also got a overall captain and a commissar lord sitting here. Okay, so the other special rules for the land train is, as ever, we've got the presence force fields, and there's a double force field at the back here. And the way they work is they're toughness 7, 3 wounds, 3 up, 5 up. Okay, now the land train itself has got a special rule, and what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate this with these. Imagine this is a chaos transport. So what happens is this transport might declare that it's moving at 14 inches. So we take the land train and we add 6 onto this result. Okay, so that's 12 plus 5. Okay, so that's 17. So as this is going 14, this has to move back the difference in relation to the speed of the land train. Okay, so the land train sets its speed randomly, and what this is supposed to be is an automated defence mechanism where the speed is varied to try and throw off attackers. Okay, so the mission. The Chaos Forces can try and get control of the land train. If they get control of the land train, they can alter the speed themselves, or alternatively they can do a full stop. If they do a full stop, then that means that this turns into just a regular game of 40k, and the land train just becomes a kind of piece of scenery. And the good thing about that, from the Chaos Forces point of view, they're then free to swarm in. Okay, so that's one part of their mission. And the second part of the mission is to free the Demon Prince. Okay, so that means that from a victory point of view, if the Chaos Forces stall the train and free the Demon Prince, Imperial Forces are going to be sitting there thinking, where's the train gone? Okay, and it's a big mystery, and it's a great victory for Chaos. If the Imperium manage to keep the train moving for the full 6 turns, or however many it is, then they arrive at the kind of destination. Doesn't matter, well, it does matter, but regardless of whether the cargo's intact or not, it just gives the Imperial forces a heads up. Okay, so that's pretty much the game, and the way this works is, if the vehicle can end its movement phase, or sorry, start its movement phase wholly within this kind of imaginary line, then they're kind of in the vortex of the land train, and they can just move up to here, then disembark. One other thing as well, there's 2 Chaos players, and each of them can deep strike 1 unit. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to relax this slightly, and we're going to say if they can deep strike within 6 inches, but on the 1, each model receives 1 mortal wound. If they want to get closer than 6 inches, then it will be on a 1 or a 2. They can't deep strike into the cockpit, and they can't deep strike beyond this first force field. Okay, so they're limited to where they can come down. and limited to 2 units means that it kind of forces the concept mechanic of using the variable speed and trying to board a fast moving vehicle. Okay, so that's what we're doing. That's kind of a breakdown of the special rules and the house rules on the units that we've got in place. So really we're kind of keen to see how effective it is to assault a moving land train.
Attack the train!
Choo choo!
Turn 1 for chaos. The flanking attack. There was a horrible moment where Steve asked me to do some maths in the morning. But the relative speed of the train to the units actually worked pretty good for us. So these rhinos get stealing another little advance on the door. They'll probably massively overshoot next turn. And the raptors over here and Paul's rhinos over there fell back ever so slightly, trying to keep up with the train. But yeah, as you imagine, really quick turn, and we'll see what the Imperials do.
Imperium, turn 1. So far, up here in the driver's compartment, all is peaceful and serene. And then we get slightly less peaceful and serene as we move forward. The guard garrisoning the train, standing to their barricades, and some actual action as the in-place heavy weapons here start to get a bead on the approaching Chaos forces. One set of autocannons concentrating down here on Mouth Bike. I choose to imagine the bike eating all the autocannon rounds because they didn't actually phase him particularly.
But the bike is alive. That's why the dude has 2 swords, right? He's hands free on that bike.
Yeah, exactly. And some from the other set of autocannons over here, some damage to a rhino.
Okay, so the Chaos turn 2. The word bearer rhinos cut power so that the train caught up with them, and so they've moved into a nice position to board the train. The raptors have moved up over this side and look to be jumping in next turn.
I accidentally did maths really good this term, but there were a few hiccups along the way.
They're called chaotic drift. That's what I executed there, wasn't it?
Chaotic wolf drift.
Fast and the Furious 73.
The devil's maths.
And then the Night Lords in their rhinos have been trying to catch up. This front rhino's actually bumped into the train, and this one has got further behind, and the poor spawn are lagging behind. Right, and my elite Ultramar Terminators have arrived, and they actually teleported into the middle of the Chaos Star. It was their grid for landing on, and shot in both directions at the heavy weapons teams facing them. And this side, there was 1 wound inflicted from the mass fires of all the combi bolters. And the other 2 guys turned around and swung the Reaper autocannon into these guys, and also the combi bolter, which was maxed out on plasma. And it managed to inflict the wounds on these guys, cutting them down to just 1 heavy weapons team. And then my guys charged forwards into the bigger of the 2 Devastator squads that was left, heavy weapons teams, and resumed to punch these guys, and the champion just watched because he couldn't even swing his axe at them. And there we are. These heroic guardsmen have left still standing looking at the Terminators.
You've got to stand up to bullies.
Well done, chaps.
Now it's time for the Imperium to do what the Imperium does best. That is to say, scream in abject terror while unloading massive amounts of firepower into a small number of enemy troops. The order...
It's like it's a metaphor.
The order for first rank, second rank, third rank, and everybody to pour fire into the terrifying Terminator Squad of Doom has gone out, and we've managed to whittle them down. There's 2 Terminators left, although they don't seem bothered. The ones who died were obviously not popular. I'm not sure any Night Lord is popular. So yeah, it's some particularly bold work over here, where 1 squad of guardsmen has got all overconfident from the fact that the Terminators are facing the other way, and has rushed out into the open to face an army of Chaos Space Marines. So Best of luck with that, Commander.
Chaos has entered the train. I was able to dock both of the rhinos this turn and get these squads out. So Havoc squad here, who you'll recall that John predicted bad times ahead for the guard squad who'd grown overbold in moving up here.
You don't want to be close to the enemy.
You don't want to be close to 5 flamers. I did charge in and achieved absolutely nothing after that. It's really noticeable this edition that when a unit isn't built for close combat, don't expect them to do much, like kill 3 guardsmen. However, luckily the 3 guardsmen ran screaming and jumped off the door under the train rather than face any more of what was going on.
My hair is on fire! My hair is on fire!
Likewise here, having shot up the corridor and taken out one of the blackguard behind this barricade, this Chaos Space Marine squad charged into the company commander and did 2 wounds, but unable to finish him off. Sorry, platoon commander. That was it for me, except that these guys still sort of hustling to get in the right position outside. Paul's guys, or Guy now, still marching up the corridor. I think they put some fire into this guard squad, and a quick head count suggests that they did 3 or 4 wounds, and then charged, I think, a multi-assault in here, failing to take down the autocannon, and then actually losing a whole Terminator.
I killed a Terminator.
He punched one guardsman out with a power fist.
That doesn't level it up, mate.
He wasn't a guardsman, he was just a uniform full of grenades.
That could be right.
One extra thing of note, these spawn, if the train continues to slow down, just might make it on, but who knows.
And then immediately have heart attacks.
Sound like Terminators.
Oh yeah, my Terminator's actually dropped in down here. I took a mortal wound because I was dropping into a dangerous position. And then in this corner, all their combi bolters taken out. I would say about half of that guard squad. They're obviously making a beeline for the Demon Prince. That is about it.
And
The cavalry has arrived in the shape of some Black Templars in a Storm Raven. They're matching velocities with the train at the moment, so they haven't got out yet. They put a blistering hail of firepower down on the Chaos Marine Raptors down here, and a squad over here. And I think one guy died.
One
Raptor.
Yeah.
bullet dropped into his jetpack.
And they also scratched the paintwork on a rhino.
I didn't just scratch it, I made a clean patch. So really wind them up.
Subsequently, rather worryingly, the guard forces up near the Demon Prince here, who seem to be under some kind of terrible blood-soaked influence, charged forwards against the massed flamethrowers, bolters, and power-armoured fists of the Chaos Marine forces.
We're turning our own tactics against them. It's the last thing they'll expect.
It was the last thing they expected, but they were sufficiently ready to pull the trigger on their flamethrowers. So significantly reduced guard numbers down here, but they're still in the fight. Had some long-ranged las gunfire came from this end, finished off the flamethrower squad, so that's something. And despite really quite a lot of effort from this squad over here, they're not getting through this Terminator's armour. It turns out fingernails don't really cut it when it comes to ripping open tactical dreadnought armour. So that's going to keep going for at least one more turn. So, save us, Black Templars.
Down from his barge, corpses piled high, breathing fire, lasers from his eyes. Mephiston, 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 Mephiston. He was taken by the black rage. He was cured, now he's very sage. Mephiston, 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 Mephiston. No invulnerable save of any kind. Getting punked, it's easy, you will find. Mephiston, 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 Mephiston. And once more, he went a little mad. Thanks to Telesto, it didn't end up sad. Mephiston, 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 a big scary witch. He's so full of hate, can't join the unit, cause he's got no mates. Mephiston, 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 Mephiston.
Turn 3 for Chaos. We had a lunch break in the middle of that, and I'm going to flat out admit that I've forgotten what happened in the shooting phase, but it would appear that I killed some things. And then the assaults...
Quality reporting that you tune into Pakeshi News for.
Assaults happened, clearing out that squad with the Raptors. They are engaged with their company commander, but I think he's going to fall back.
Platoon commander.
Yes, thank you very much.
I keep doing that, don't I? Yeah.
Commander Upton.
Over here, Kieran's bold gambit throwing like 4 guardsmen into assault is actually paying dividends because I can't finish it. There's a Chaos Lord in the mix now as well, and they're just flailing wildly over these guys' heads. That's about it for me. Paul, what did you do? You've invaded the train in huge numbers.
We did. We cursed the flyer first of all, and then we also got a melter hit on it as well, so it took 4 wounds off the flyer. Then we've shot into the other guard units behind the barricades. Didn't inflict many wounds.
I mean, you say units, it doesn't look...
Yeah, that happened in the assault phase.
That's the assault phase.
Okay.
Then you've got the chosen unit charged in to help the lone Terminator out and killed the squad that was locked in with him. And the Havoc squad with the plasma guns charged in and only killed 1 guardsman. And that's one unit dead and 1 in stalemate.
Okay, so since this is apparently the way that we're running things now, I'll admit that I'm a bit hazy on what's going on up this end of the table. We've got an infiltrating Terminator assault trying to get around here and release the beast. And the Blackguard of Knowles has valiantly thrown itself into the business of preventing this. Here in the centre of the table, we have the Black Templars, including, name that dreadnought.
Ironclad.
Including the imaginatively named Ironclad, the Ironclad dreadnought.
Ironclad the Ironclad.
Have,
This one's spelled with a K.
have struck like a thunderbolt into into the loading dock area to hunt down the Chaos forces here, Chaos Commander here, and then at this end of the table, it's an all or nothing kind of last ditch defense over here. Well, actually, penultimate ditch. I guess there's a couple of ditches left. We're trying to hold off one squad. We're trying to hold off the shooty Chaos Marine squad in close combat with the Lord Commissar and Company Commander here charging in, and we're trying to hold off the close combat-y Chaos Space Marine squad by shooting them. You know, it's classic. It's classic. Kick them in the shooty bits and shoot them in the kicky bits.
So, Chaos engaged in loads and loads of assaults down this end. The Terminator's managing to clear out those brave but ultimately foolish Blackguard. Over here, the Chaos Lord is time well and truly up as a ring of Black Templars taunts him to death.
They taunted him a second time.
But the Raptor champion is still clinging on with the Dreadnought, so holding that up, which is
You wanna
pretty
talk about
decent.
Brave but ultimately foolish.
Well, absolutely. So yeah, really thin up this end, and you'll note really thin up this end as well. I actually know what was going on for once up this end, but Paul, do you want to talk us through it anyway?
The chosen unit charged into the veterans at the back here. I lost 2 chosen charging to Overwatch. And the last
Heavy
2,
flamers!
Yeah, heavy flamer. I think was it Melwa as well?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Melwa and a heavy flamer. Then my chosen took out quite a few guys, and my last Ultramar guy reached the combat as well, and he aided them. The last few guys fell back and died. These guys fell out of combat with these and let these guys charge in. I've got the Warlord here, the Tech Marine, he's charged in, and also I've got the champion from the tactical squad.
They think it's all
And they've
over.
only managed to kill 1 guy in combat, unfortunately.
But I notice there's
one
no
less
commissar.
There's 1 less commissar. What happened to the commissar?
He
now?
got shot in the face with a melter
with the
gun.
melter gun.
That'll do it.
He was the nearest guy.
For the full
Well done,
6
Warlord.
wounds. Like, he was vaporised from the boots up.
That's right.
So the attack.
Oh, and Muttley's hit the side.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
Muttley's
there'll be a
gonna jump
spawn
in
next
time.
turn.
If you don't get shot off the side of the train.
Wait,
before
where's
he
the other
hits
one
the
gone?
line.
He's
He's hit the side of the train and falling backwards, rolling down.
so the attack kind of stalling at the force fields, but there's still half a chance here, I think, for Chaos.
And so we approach end game. The Black Templars victorious here in the central area of the train. As you can see, a lot more space than there was previously. The Raptors have finally finished falling to the mighty Ironclad Dreadnought Ironclad. It's canon now, there's nothing I can do about it.
Ignatius Navarro clad.
The world's most insanely heroic and insanely insane platoon commander, Commander Up and Atom apparently, has charged again, this time into a Terminator squad.
And survived again.
And scared the life out of him.
Yeah, I mean there has actually been a round of combat here, and he's still standing.
I did the wound on Overwatch. That was
This guy looks like he's got a flamer, but he's actually just got a camcorder. He's just filming this. He's going to get 1 million hits on YouTube. There was a little bit of a hiccup,
Unrelated technical issues.
and I still maintain that some kind of evil, chaotic influence was going on here because
You mean the GM?
the Inquisitor attempted to drop a force field and dropped the wrong one.
Dropped a clanger.
So now the Blackguard are in savage hand-to-hand, well, hand-to-giant sword combat with... Why didn't we take his sword?
Have you tried to take a sword from Demon Prince?
Well, fair point. Okay, so the Demon Prince isn't exactly loose, but he's not quite as...
Tight as you want.
He's not quite as imprisoned as he was before. So that's terrible. Over at the driver's compartment end, the last survivors of the guard here, in strict rank order, from lowest to highest, hiding in a corner from all these ravening Night Lords, and then an intact force field between the driver's compartment and Ravening Night Lords. Ravening Night Lords is the take home from this presentation, I think. So it looks like it's coming right down to it.
It's round-up time again. Sergeant Up and Atom. He's gone. I didn't want to see it happen,
He
but...
ascended.
Actually, that's a demotion because he's a platoon commander.
All right.
He was demoted.
What do I care for rank?
He was demoted posthumously for failure in the face of the enemy.
For failure in the face of 3 Gal Vorbeck. Over here, the Demon Prince, somewhat thwarted by storm shields, but he took a couple out. He is being ground down though.
Hooray for storm shields.
we'll gloss over most of this because Black Templars! One of the spawn finally made it on, but he's dead now.
I keep wearing mine, didn't it?
I think he killed a Templar, which is better than I've managed all game. So, most of the hilarity saved for this end, though, where it took both all of Paul's shooting and all of his close combat attacks to drop that force field. Thoughts, Paul?
Oh dear, it's not good. Here he comes.
Over here,
More storm shields.
John's little corner of characters being depleted by Paul's warlord as well.
In and wounded one guy.
Commander Cowardly Custard will be the last to die.
I think he is. There's like, what, 3 guardsmen left
Platoon
on the board?
commanders.
There's the flamer dude here. And...
Fending for him.
Yeah.
Save his honour.
Well, honour's
It's virtue.
less of a concern.
It's definitely the business end of things now, isn't it? With the Imperium about to hit these guys.
It's business time.
Basically figured that the Inquisitor was an idiot for trying to transport a live demon prince anywhere and we're just ending this.
It is like every Aliens novel ever, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's just not a great idea.
It's true.
So here we are, a very dramatic end to the game. The Demon Prince has not been rescued, but has been cast back into the warp for, I feel like it's 100 years in a day, or 1,000 years in a day, something like that. Long enough that these individual mortal humans will no longer have to worry about him anyway.
Although they're great-great-grandchildren.
Yes, but I mean, this is
Fucking conservative.
this is 40k, so I mean, let's face it, they were anyway. The heroic dreadnought IN clad has taken on the Galvor back and seems to be doing all right for himself. In a particularly dramatic moment, the Black Templar Storm Raven has flown into the train.
To a moving train.
Piloting skills, man, they're the top notch, you're the best.
More after the break. Because there's been a dramatic final confrontation in the driver's compartment here, as the other squad of Blackguard try to hold off 3 surviving Night Lords champions who survived after the force field came down. The Terminator was shot in the back by the entire payload of a Storm Raven. So, you know, I mean, he did his best, but sucked to be him. Now, unfortunately, nobody's really controlling the train anymore because the driver servitors have been hot-wired for emergency melee combat. Also, the driver's compartment has been shot up with the entire payload of a Black Templar Storm Raven. So we're not entirely sure what this means for the ongoing narrative, but whatever it is, it's definitely going to be cool.
Absolutely.
Good game. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out, everybody. And scene.